Well, hello. Welcome. It's been a while since we've had one of our little talks. And in this video today, we are going to discuss something that we sell a lot of, and not a lot of people do. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to sell a lot of it too. All right, so voice is still coming back. Took it a little hard, I guess, in Las Vegas. So if it creaks a little, it's the best I can do at this point. But I did want to make this video because I've been wanting to make it for a while and just haven't had the time. And it is an important video because we get questions about this all the time. It's something we sell a ton of, and it's easy to source, it's easy to store. I mean, what could be better for an eBay reseller? Something that doesn't take up a lot of space, that sells relatively well. Now, it doesn't sell for a lot of money, but it does sell consistently and pretty much effortlessly. Most people that buy these aren't low ballers. Most people just are collectors, or they're using them for some other project. And what I'm talking about is photographs. Other people's photographs, like this one. This is a picture of the back of a car. Old photographs in particular. We sell a lot of them. And frequently, I might add. Most of the time, I would say we don't get through a day without at least selling one or two. And we have kind of a system for what we sell and what we don't. And I'd say 95% of what we source, we sell. There are things that we just can't sell, for either legal reasons or for reasons that maybe there's some damage. But I'd say 95% of what we source, we sell. And sourcing these is simple and relatively cheap. And your return on investment is relatively high. So that's part of the reason this video is even getting made, is because it's simple and easy to source and easy to sell. So let's get into some particulars. If you take away anything from this video, the first thing is content. It's all about content. And it doesn't matter whether you think the content is good content. A lot of the times it isn't. A lot of the times you wouldn't even have noticed what this person wants in this photo. But over time, you kind of develop a sense about it. There's certain things in pictures that people look for. Good example, this is the one I just showed you. Now, this one's obvious. This is a car, and it's an old car. It's pretty obvious why somebody would want this. Maybe they have this car, or maybe their grandfather had this car, or maybe they're decorating a garage, or maybe it's for a movie. That's a real common thing. A lot of people buy these for movie props. We have sold, I'd say, 10% of our stock to movie prop companies, and they buy them for scenes where they decorate the backgrounds of scenes and such. This would be good for like maybe an old time garage or even a new garage. But it's all about content. Another good example of it is this one. And to most people, this would look like a family photograph, just your typical run-of-the-mill family photograph. But this photograph has a lot going on for it. Number one, the dog. People love pictures of dogs. Number two, it's Christmas time, and there's an old Christmas tree back there. Number three, the fashion in this. The man's sweater vest is pretty awesome. Furniture, anything like that, can become content. It doesn't have to even be the central focus of the picture. In this photograph in particular, the central focus of the picture is the dog and the guy. But a lot of people would buy the photograph just simply because this old-time tree in the background. Could be anything. Could even be the couch the lady's sitting on. It doesn't really matter. It's all about content. Now, there are, different levels. So you see some of the old color photographs like this one and this one, probably from the 60s, maybe from the 70s here. But it gets even older with things like cabinet cards. And cabinet cards are something like this. This is a cardboard card, probably early 20s, maybe even earlier than that. And this one is a picture of a child. Let's see if I can get my camera to focus on it. Try it again. This one's a picture of a child standing next to a chair. And again, this all comes down to content. One of the main key selling facts of this one would be the kid, obviously. But a lot of it might have to do with the way he's dressed, or the background, or even the chair that's in the picture. Now, cabinet cards are probably a little more expensive than your average photographs, because a lot of people do collect these, and it's pretty well known that cabinet cards are collectible. However, they are still relatively cheap. Some cabinet cards go for more than others. For instance, this one probably be on the low end of value. Now, I'm not going to give you guys any specifics on as far as, you know, what the value of these are in this video, because you can make your own values. With something like this, there isn't comps necessarily. Like if we go out and you buy a record, you can comp it within a couple dollars of everybody else. This is more than likely one of a kind. So you're really basing it off of other pictures like this. Maybe there's another picture that you see that has a child in it with furniture and a plain background. That would be the easiest way to comp something like this. Cabinet cards go up in value the more things are in them. So for instance, this looks like a husband and wife scene with some old like dress and old suit, and there's some antlers, there's like a background that's kind of wooded. It even looks a little creepy. So a lot of the times things like this will sell for more money just because of the way they look. Another thing that sells really well is generations, and that goes for any sort of pictures, not just cabinet cards. This is 3 generations. Well, not necessarily generations, but 3 different ages of children. So you've got the youngest, the second youngest, and more than likely the oldest. People like stuff like this. And again, you've got the furniture, the old look, clothing, and so forth. That's the kind of content you're looking for. Going outside of cabinet cards, back into maybe the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Things like this sell for a lot of money. This is a kid, more than likely her second or third time sitting on Santa's lap. Now these are bought for decoration most of the time. This one, in fact, we're selling individually because of the content. Old Santa, the kid, you know, kind of Christmas story looking. Another thing about this photo is it's got a location on it. So there's a studio and a location. This is Wheeling, West Virginia. And it also has a year on it, 1955. So the more information you can get out of the photo, the more keywords you can add, the more, you know, more you can kind of focus down on exactly what it is. Now, we've talked about all the great and all the, you know, high selling ones. What do you do with all the extras? Because inevitably you're going to have a lot of extras. You buy photo albums, you're going to get a bunch of things that you know, may or may not be all that valuable. Well, we have an example here for you. These are a bunch of photos from the 60s, and they're just like someone's family vacation. And as you can see from the front one, they're not all that great. But do they sell? Yeah, sure they do. We lot them up. And this is a pack of 80. And they sell. People like other people's photographs, and a lot of the times they're bought for props, or they're bought for decoration, or so forth. So what do you do with the ones that, you know, maybe don't have a lot of content? For instance, this is just a guy standing in front of a wall. Not a lot there. We just lot them up and sell them. And actually, a lot of the times we'll sell more of these than we will individual photographs. So there's that. And then there's things like this. This is color photos from the 1980s. Not that long ago. Well, I mean, I don't think it's that long ago, but it is 40 plus years ago. But, you know, a lot of people will look by stuff like this. This is a relatively new photograph. Color, you know, Kodachrome style picture, just of 3 ladies. Will people buy this? Absolutely. Are they that valuable? Not really, unless there's some really interesting content in them. If you have maybe an old car, or you have, you know, a woman posing, or you have maybe, you know, some event that happened, or monuments, things of that nature, then maybe they would sell for a little bit more money. But in this particular instance, this is not much. This is really just someone's photo album. Again, lot them up and sell them that way. The next thing you'll come in contact with a lot is pictures like this, where it's just like a guy probably took this photograph to send to somebody, or those strip photographs. Now again, all about content. Military, any men or women in uniform, those are valuable, and you want to hang on to those. Now, if they're not in uniform and it's just some guy, again, lot them up maybe like photographs. In particular, we've got this guy, and then behind it you can actually see one of a child, maybe a school photograph. We lot them up, put them all together. You got yourself, we got a lot of 18 portraits right here. People buy them and like buying. Another commonly overlooked side of this, and had I not been selling photographs for the last 6 months, I would have walked right by things like this all the time, is family photographs. Why would somebody want family photographs? They do, and they sell frequently. This is a lot of 4 extended family photographs from the 1930s. Most of them look somewhat like this. You would think, why would anybody want something like this? Well, there's a couple reasons. Again, movie props, decoration, and sometimes, and it's happened before, where people know somebody in this photograph and want to buy it. You can tell a lot by the writing on the back of the photograph. So, the more information you can give the buyer, the better off you'll be. We use the keyword found photograph in a lot of our descriptions, and that does help the value and helps people find them. The last thing we're going to cover is obscure. There is a lot of obscure photographs out there, some of which you want to, be very careful selling on eBay. Cabinet cards in particular, there was a trend where people actually photograph death in many ways. They are worth some money, and they do sell on eBay, but just be very careful when selling things like that. Circus acts or circus freaks is what they'll call them. Not my term, just what has been called. Again, very valuable side to this photograph thing. We haven't found any, and most of them are relatively expensive, but if you do find things like that, again, tread lightly, but some of them do have a tremendous amount of value, and that's going to look something like these ones. This is just the 3 kids. I don't have any of those ones that we discussed, but they're going to look something like this. One thing we didn't go over that we're going to go over really quickly is that in the early 1900s, a very popular practice was photographs that got transcribed onto postcards. And postcards are not my area of expertise. There are people on YouTube that are much more knowledgeable about postcards. Mark from SM Postcards being one that we get a lot of our information from. But I would be doing you guys a disservice if I didn't at least mention this. This is a family photograph that was transposed onto a postcard, and then there's a little message right here. And it is a postcard. You can tell just by looking at the back. I'll take it out of here for you guys if my fingers will work correctly. So it is a postcard right there. That's the back of it with a stamp and everything. Some things to note. First of all, again, this is somebody's picture that was developed and put onto this postcard. There's a couple ways to tell that if it's a real picture postcard. The first and the easiest way to tell is to put this under a loupe or a magnifying glass and see if you can see pixels. By pixels, I mean, everybody knows what pixels are by now, but little, squares of color and or black and white, you'll see them. If you see pixels, it's not real, it's a copy. If you don't see pixels, it's a real picture real picture postcard, and these are worth money for the most part. Again, it's all about content. Some of them are worth more than others, but they do sell relatively well. These ones that are kind of like have I can't remember the exact name, but have like the little photograph circle at the top of them, aren't worth a whole ton. The ones that are worth money are the ones that you can kind of see clearly and are of certain things. So, a guy standing in front of the Washington Monument, something to that effect, even, in front of an ocean with a ship behind him, those types of things, worth some money. The other easy way to tell if they are real picture postcards is by the postmark here. Where the postmark would go. There's a series of letters and numbers surrounding where that postmark postage stamp would go. And it says, it's got AAEOA is typically going to tell you that it's a real picture postcard. But you definitely want to verify by putting things under a magnifying glass and seeing if you can see pixels. We actually have a loupe that we use that makes it a lot easier. So, that's about it. Not a lot of information, just enough to get you going. Again, easy to sell, easy to store, easy to ship, what more could you ask for? And they're worth a fairly decent amount of money. You typically have cents into these, you know, 2, 3, 4 cents, and you're selling them for $5 to $10 to $20, sometimes as even high as $60 or $70, which we've done. Again, some of the more obscure things are going to sell for a lot more money, but be wary when selling things like that. You don't want to get yourself in trouble with eBay. Yeah, and that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this will help you further your reselling career. If you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up. I really would appreciate it. And, you know, we're going to be doing a little bit more of this content. I'm going to try and put out at least one of these informational style videos as frequently as I can. So if you want to see more like this, hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that too. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Good day, sir!